Welcome to Fishing with Gussy. Today's show is all about big toothy critters. We're on Lake of the Woods, it's fall, and we're catching some big northerns. You're not going to want to miss this one.
Fishing with Gussy is proudly sponsored by and uses Shimano rods and reels. Visit fish.shimano.com for more information.
Welcome to Fishing with Gussy, people. We got a beautiful September day and we were able to make a plan this morning. We're getting out fishing and we're going to be chasing toothy critters. The wind's supposed to get up a little bit, but that should help the bite. And yeah, as you can see, we're kind of fishing big water out here. And we did a show sort of same time last year. Sean McGaughy and I caught a bunch of big pike and sort of doing the same thing again. And I'm gonna mix in some different baits. We're gonna throw a jerk bait quite a bit. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully run into some big pike, maybe a muskie. We're in good water for both species. So I'm gonna pull up to my first little point here and hopefully we'll get lucky. So my bait of choice today, I'm throwing a Jackal Squad Minnow jerk bait, and it's the 128 size. So that means it's 128 millimeters. So it's a bait that's kind of designed for bass, but probably for the most part, it's a little big for most applications in our part of the world. But you know, if you're on a lake with big forage that they're eating, then it's certainly not too big. But that's it right there, and you know, nice white. So I like white just about for fishing for just about any species of fish because it's a color that's always going to be kind of natural, but it's also fairly highly visible. So fish are going to be able to find it easy, and it doesn't matter which species you're after. I've kind of had good luck catching a little bit of everything on white baits. There we go. That's sweet. So fish are still around. This guy doesn't know it, but his cabin's on one of the best toothy critter spots that I know of, and this is a nice one. I just sort of got a glimpse of him, and he looks pretty solid. You can see I've actually got my free spool button pushed down right now. These baits like this that are designed for bass, the hooks aren't super heavy on them. So if you're pulling too hard or that fish wants to make a power run, if you don't kind of help them out a little bit and give them some he was right there. But see, he wants to run. I'm just gonna let him go because I don't want to tear those hooks out. What'll happen is you straighten them out and fish will get off. I'm just enjoying this fight, man. Awesome. Okay, let's see if we can try this again. He does not want to come in the boat. I get him all the way up and then he wants to go right back down to the bottom again. Okay, here we go. My net's a little bit undersized for this sucker. Wait till you see this fish. Wow. This is not the biggest pike I've ever caught, but that's a beauty. Wow, that's awesome. Look at how fat that thing is. So that's a good start. That's our first spot of the day, and the good thing that's telling me is I've fished this area quite a bit, and if this guy's around, some of my other spots around here will probably be pretty good too. So, you know, that's pretty awesome right there. There he goes. Just had to wake up a little bit. Woo! Oh man, that thing smoked it. I'm just using like a jerk, pause cadence on my bait, and I jerked it, and I paused it, and I think I had slack in my line, and I still felt like I got punched in the arm when that thing hit. Wow, this is gonna be another big one too. Just tell by the way it's sort of logging it down there. Yeah, it's a nice, really nice one. Whew. He's running like a lake trout. Wow. Pretty good way to spend your weekday morning when you get these really nice, it's supposed to be like 25 degrees this afternoon. And for late September in our part of the world, in northwestern Ontario, we like that. I can tell you one thing, this fish ate this bait, and it is a good thing I got a leader on there. I probably would have lost it. Oh, there it's sort of sticking out. So he's got it in his mouth just like a cookie. Here he comes. Ooh. We lost one hook. He's kind of angry. Wow, something big just jumped right out behind us. There's more of them here too. Okay. Whoa, he didn't like that. There we go. Whoa. He got them all tangled up. We're gonna get some pliers. He's only got one set of hooks in the fish, so I should be able to get him. Okay, fish is clear. We'll worry about the hooks in a minute. We just got the leader now, kind of twisted up here in this guy's mouth. All right, so we'll deal with this in a minute. Look at that. Pretty nice critter, man. Wow, it's awesome. You know, when we're you know, I do a lot of bass fishing, and when we're fishing for bass, we catch a lot of those little small 1 and 2 pound pike that bite your lures off all the time. And you don't necessarily see a lot of these big fish like this, but from the midsummer kind of into the fall, a lot of these big fish, they're out, on the big water, main lake structure, and you don't catch any of those little 1 and 2 pounders. It's mostly all these big, mature, solid, heavy fish, and they're fun to catch. I'm shaking. That's awesome. We're gonna take a break. I'm gonna get my boat set back up again on that break, and hopefully we'll catch another one. Can you believe the action on today's show? You're not gonna wanna miss what happens next. So what I'm doing is there's a big reef that kind of big shallow flat, and it's all rocks that comes off this island. And I'm keeping the boat out in about 15 or 16 feet of water. And where I'm casting to, it's, you know, it's not super shallow, but it's a lot of like 7 and 8 foot stuff. And that first fish I just caught, I'd actually drifted up into 7 or 8 feet, and I want to be out so my bait's kind of going off the edge where it breaks and drops off. So I just got my boat out into 15 or 16 feet again, and I casted parallel to the edge, which I can see on my hummingbird up here. And that fish, it was about, you know, a third of the way back on that cast, and I hooked up. So I'll, you know, use that information to hopefully that'll be the pattern today, that these fish are hanging, you know, just off the edges of those shallow flats. Always watch for followers too, because the pike are generally, if they follow your bait and see the boat, 99 out of 100 times, they're gone. They see the boat, gone the other way. A muskie though, they're like kind of fearless. And that's one of the cool things, I think, that why people that muskie fish a lot love it so much. I mean, you get those things following up and it's pretty neat. They don't really get scared of the boat necessarily. And you can, you know, do a figure 8 and sometimes trigger them to bite. So I'm really watching every time that I get my bait close to the boat. And if there is a pike following it, a lot of times when you make that initial, you know, your bait starts to come up, it's been running, you know, 6 or 7 feet down in the water column through your cast. When you start to, you know, rise it up when you get to the boat at the end of your cast, a lot of times they'll bite right there. And bass do the same thing. Walleyes also do the same thing. So, as you know, I'm working this bait pretty aggressively, jerking it pretty hard, and just, you know, it's a loud bait. It's got some rattles in it, and I just want those fish to, you know, I want to be able to call them in from as wide of an area as I can. I'm making long casts, so obviously I got a feeling they're in the mood to bite. I mean, we've just been out for a little bit here and we've caught a couple good ones already, so I think that, you know, just cover ground and try and get this thing in front of as many fish as possible, and that's going to be the ticket. There we go, hooked up. Ooh. I think this is a pretty big one. I didn't get to see it yet, but he's kind of staying down like a big log and muscling me. Oh yeah, nice, big fish. Oh, he saw the net and he didn't like that very much. Okay, whoa. I should have came with my big, I've got the big jumbo muskie net at home. And the size of these pike, whoa, we're getting, it probably would help. Okay. This guy's kind of got me all twisted up again here. Okay, beautiful. Fish is out. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? Can you believe the size of these fish? Pretty awesome. That one was kind of took us a little while to get back on the board. I lost a few and had a couple nice follow-ups, but that's sweet. Get this guy back. That's awesome. It's so cool to catch those big fish I got. Look at how fat they are. It's beautiful. Oh, he's gonna jump for us. It's funny too, you know, when you're fishing for these bigger pike like this. And you know, that one fish, I mentioned that it took the bait kind of like a cookie in its mouth. They have a lot more accuracy and precision when they strike than those little, you know, hammer handle pike do. That, and usually when you get your line bit off when you're bass fishing or whatever you're doing, usually it's those smaller ones. They just seem to take a lot more wild stabs and wild swings at it, whereas these bigger fish, they really kind of hone in on the bait and strike it to kill it. Little guy. It might even be a bass. Yeah, it's a nice bass actually. It jumped out there. That's funny. There you go. It's not too big for bass. That's what that bait's kind of designed for, but it's a good little bonus. I like catching smallmouths. Everybody knows that. Something smaller again. It actually kind of feels like a bass. It is too. I guess I found myself a little fall bass spot out here. Not a big one, but there we go. A little something small. Bass again. Little bass. That little guy better be careful because there's enough big toothy stuff out here that would make a meal out of him. You should go back to the weeds, little buddy. I've got some other baits that I want to try, but if they're gonna bite that thing as good as they are, then not a whole lot of point switching it up. Stick around. After the break, we got some more big fish action coming right up from Lake of the Woods.
Tech Tips is brought to you by Northland Fishing Tackle, made by fishermen for fishermen.
My bait needs a little repair. After that fish rolled around so much in the net, it basically tore the hooks out of itself. So you can see how that back one's pretty much totally jacked. It's wide open, and a few of the ones are. And that's what happens if your drag's too tight and your lines, you know, if you're using braided line and your rod's a little bit stiff and you get those big fish and really try to muscle them with these baits. If you get, you know, the little bit bigger musky baits, they come with the really beefed up hooks and you're not gonna have that problem as much. But I think there's definitely a time and place when these downsized lures, you know, that are more designed for bass, and a lot of the jackal baits are pretty high end. So they're very realistic, very nice finishes. They run good, really nice sound. You just gotta, you know, keep that in mind. The hooks are a little lighter and you just gotta be careful.
Tech Tips is brought to you by Northland Fishing Tackle, made by fishermen for fishermen.
There we go. Oh, that one's coming towards me. He hit right when it was suspended. Not quite a monster, but a pretty nice one. I'm just gonna grab this guy. Whoa, easy, buddy. Okay, we got him. Get some pliers. That one's not hooked all that bad, so not a monster, but still a pretty nice pike, pretty thick. Cool. Take it. Whew. That one had a little more spunk to it. This squad minnow jerkbait that I'm using actually comes in two smaller sizes as well. A 115 and a 95. And those are just a little bit shorter, and both of those are really good smallmouth baits that we use a lot, you know, all through the summer. But they're good baits. They cast really good. They got a weight system in there so that goes to the very back of the lure. So I mean, you can cast them all a mile and really easy to use. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. That one hit pretty close to the boat. Ooh, it's another good one. Whew. He saw the boat and is not happy about it. Look at that. One hook in his snout. This one's gonna be kind of a lucky one if I get him in. He's got one little hook. And if he sort of pulls the right way, it'll tear out of there, but if he does, we saw him, not the end of the world. Come here, baby. Not ready yet, I guess. Wow, this is unreal. It is the end of September. A week ago, I had my snowsuit on. We were catching lake trout. I was shivering and frozen. Today, I have a jacket, I have a t-shirt on underneath, and this black jacket, I'm actually sweating. I'm warm. Sandals, and we're catching some of the biggest pike that I have ever caught in open water. Wow, look at that. Another big monster. After the break, we're gonna finish a great day of fishing off with a big pike.
If you watch the show, it's hard not to notice the great variety of species we have here in Sunset Country. We spend a lot of time on Lake of the Woods, but it's important to note that there are thousands of lakes in the region. Many of them have boat access and can be found using Fish Online. History shows us that anglers have been coming here for years, catching trophy-sized trout, pike, bass, crappies, muskies, and of course, walleye. But it's stringers full of oversized fish like these used for consumption that eventually led to regulations limiting fish quantities. Regulations keep breeding stock available, and not to mention fish populations thriving. Large fish are still plentiful, and it's no wonder why people from all around the world come here to drop a line, relax, and get photos that will last a lifetime.
I'll tell you what, these pike I've been catching today are some of the biggest ones that I have ever caught in open water. And that's sure a lot of fun, man. Jeez, those are beauties. Late in the summer, you gotta think about main lake, rocks, and using those minnow imitating jerk baits. And you can catch lots of pike like this all across northwestern Ontario. All the big lakes have them. And you don't necessarily see them a lot, throughout the summer, and you don't see a lot of these big ones in those shallow, weedy bays, but get out here when the water cools down a little bit on the rocks, and you can catch a bunch of them. Sweet.
Fishing with Gussy proudly uses and is sponsored by Jackal Lures.